When is your birthday? You might be confused by your Chinese friends who keep changing their birthday dates every year. Or when you get notifications on Facebook and send birthday wishes to them, they tell you, it's actually not my real birthday today, but thanks. Perhaps you already knew that many Chinese people today still consider their real birthdays according to lunar calendar and not according to Gregorian calendar, right? Two calendar systems still exist in Chinese culture. We have official birthdays that we put in passports, birth certificates, etc. And that's just to make things easier in the system. But to many Chinese people, they still prefer celebrating their birthdays according to lunar calendar. Take my mom's example. The date of the year she was born was on 11th February in Gregorian calendar, but most people in the family remember her birthday as the 4th day of the first month in Chinese lunar year, which is during Chinese New Year celebration. And there's been just so many memories of her birthday being celebrated in Chinese New Year. So just imagine how weird it would be if all in a sudden this is to be abolished. Perhaps someone not from our culture would say, good luck to you, Chinese people. But honestly, we would never think just how life would be easier if we just stick to one Gregorian calendar. Our calendar, the one that our ancestors use, has such importance to our lives that we would never think it's too much trouble. It's always been like this. We're used to asking each other, when is Dragon Boat Festival? Is Mooncake Festival coming? When is Chinese New Year's Eve next year? Similarly, Jewish people isn't Asian people like Chinese people. Jewish holidays are based on lunar calendars too. The calendars are quite similar to Chinese one. Even Sukkot falls almost on the same time as our Mooncake Festival, which we celebrate on the 15th of our 8th month in Chinese lunar calendar. Jewish people's calendar is created by God, who designed this when He created the heavens and earth. Genesis 1:14. Then God said, "Let lights in the expanse of the sky be for separating the day from the night. They will be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." In Chinese, English, and Hebrew, and so many other languages, a month is called a month because of moon. When moon reappears, that is the beginning of a new month. A cycle is for 29 or 30 days. The Creator put sun and moon in the sky so we may know seasons. Based on the climate in the land of Canaan, God set up His festivals called Moadims, such as the festivals of first fruits, the Feast of Weeks, and the Feast of Ingathering. It gives farmers a hint before a watch is invented. Ancient people used sundials, right? It's hard to imagine that you cannot Google to find out the latest weather report. But God created these festivals and a calendar so the people of that land would know exactly when to meadow earth, sow seeds, fertilize land, etc., and harvest. The rain season of this land starts after the Feast of Ingathering, also known as Sukkot. People would know that they should finish harvesting before Sukkot comes, not just because the festival is coming, but also because it will rain soon. Although it should rain from Sukkot to Pesach, which means Passover, it doesn't rain every day. In Chinese, we call God 老天爷, which literally translated as the old grandpa in heavens. Really, the old grandpa in heavens. We feel there is a grandpa looking after the people from heavens. If it doesn't send rain, then people starve. Jeremiah 5:24. Let us now fear Adonai Eloheinu, who gives rain in its season, fall rain and spring rain, who reserves for us the appointed weeks of harvest. The Creator has a unique relationship with Israel. He is very specific to this people and gave them clear instruction on when to harvest. In Deuteronomy 16:13, you are to keep the feast of Sukkot for 7 days, after gathering in the produce from your threshing floor and winepress. After Sukkot, the Feast of Ingathering, people would keep eating their produce for months. But when will they enjoy fresh crop? The best weather report is still according to Creator's calendar. Feast of First Fruits and Feast of Weeks. Leviticus 23:10. Speak to Bnei Israel and tell them, when you have come into the land which I give to you, and reap its harvest, then you are to bring the omer of the first fruits of your harvest to the Kohen. Omer is a measuring unit. It was used for measuring manna too. The first measure of the first fruits of harvest will be offered to God as a wave offering to the priest. So that's the Kohen part. Somehow God the Creator will make sure barley is always ripened so people can bring first fruits to Him. That is the rule He created, so it happens like that. And then people will start to collect the harvest and then celebrate the Feast of Harvest 7 weeks later. Exodus 23:16. Also you are to observe the Feast of Harvest, the first fruits of your labors that you sow in the field, as well as the Feast of the Ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather your crops from the field. Traditionally, Jewish people still count Omer between Feast of First Fruits to Feast of Weeks. Yes, even though they are no longer farmers, they still have this tradition. Why? Because they know this God who set up these rules and this calendar is still living. He said in Leviticus 26:5, your threshing will last until grape gathering. The grape gathering will last till the sowing time. You will eat your bread to the fall and live securely in your land. God of Israel knows the land He prepares for the house of Jacob. And He intends that through nature people will acknowledge Him and revere Him. In Deuteronomy 33:28. So Israel, rest in safety, untroubled in Jacob's fountain, in a land of grain and new wine. Yes, His heavens drip dew. Chinese society has transformed from an agricultural one to something else. Taiwan is known for high-tech products, but many of us coming from Chinese culture, we still use lunar calendar for celebrating festivals and even for birthdays. We aren't farmers, but this is still the calendar that we honor, as just so many memories come with it from history. And Jewish people have even better reason in keeping Creator's calendar according to the Bible. Their calendar is established by God. It's the first interactive calendar, as this is how God shows He is real. So, the calendar should still be relevant today because God has not changed and He is still to be honored and revered.